It's that time when all the investor calls are going down. The earnings reports are coming in, they're dropping like flies, and they're happy flies, sipping on nectar, aka money. This is when these big publishers talk about how much money they've been bringing in. And while the facts and figures are fascinating, my favorite part of these calls when they discuss the upcoming games lineups. You can get a real sense, sometimes a pretty murky, blurred sense, but sometimes a really clear sense of what's coming out. And Ubisoft on their call today just laid it out there. We know exactly what is coming over the next year for Ubisoft. And with a little assistance from Daniel Ahmad on Twitter and Jason Schreier on Kotaku, we have all the puzzle pieces. Now we just got to put them together. What's going on, everybody? It's Ghost Robo. Let me know in the comments down below which Ubisoft title you're most excited to play. We know the 5 games. As crazy as it sounds, we know them, so we're going to go through them one by one. You tell me in the comments which one you are looking forward to most. All right, so 3 of the 5 are Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine. We know that. Those were announced last E3. They all got delayed. There was a big Ubisoft tsunami delay where they pushed everything and waved it back, I thought, for next gen, and it turns out, yeah, for next gen, because Ubisoft says all games are expected to have HD patches. So then you know that this delay was to take advantage of next gen. Also, make the games better. There's a creative shift at Ubisoft where they have decided, whoa, we're doing too many homogenized similar games, and after The Division 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint did not perform as well as they hoped, they made some shifts. And it's going to be interesting by the time we get to the end of this video to talk about those creative shifts, because I don't think they're happening yet. And it's obvious. This wave of games was decided before that creative shift happened, so we're not going to see their new efforts to distinguish their games. They have introduced new sort of subheads of their creative team that man the different franchise or will man the different franchises and kind of lead the charge. That is going to take effect, I think, next wave. So right now you're probably getting a lot of Ubisoft-y type games in the next year. So 5 games. Number 1, Watch Dogs Legion. A substantial delay. That game was initially supposed to come out early this year. It's being pushed all the way because they say 3 of their 5 AAA games will come out from October to December 2020, and 2 will come out January to March 2021. So in a span of 6 months, 5 AAA games. That's a crazy just barrage, and you know why they're doing it next gen. They're going to take advantage and try to just really run this ship. And I like that strategy. I think it's smart, but it's interesting to see these games get major delays. So I believe that October will be Watch Dogs Legion. Now, Watch Dogs Legion has a very interesting gimmick or conceit by letting you play as anyone. I think the story is going to suffer, and I don't think the game will probably be as strong as Watch Dogs 2, which I found really engaging. I really liked Marcus. I really liked San Francisco. I really liked the world. I really liked the mechanics. Legion is clever, but it really feels like a lot more generic. And that might seem odd because it does have the whole, you can play as anyone, which should open things up, but the way it's structured and what I've seen thus far, I'm ready to be impressed. You know, like, hey, the game could come out and be completely this incredible story and an amazing, but I think that's the October title, and I think it's going to be interesting, lined up directly next to their November title, which I fully believe is Assassin's Creed Ragnarok. Or maybe it'll have a different name. We've seen tons of leaks and rumors about this Viking-inspired Assassin's Creed that evolves the formula established in AC Odyssey. And we know that Assassin's Creed is coming. It's been 2 years. They love to push AC with new consoles, with new tech. I think this is going to be one that they hammer hard as like, hey, get it on PS5, get it on Series X. AC Odyssey isn't the direction that I really wanted AC to follow. I like the more traditional, older Assassin's Creed that focus on stealth and assassination, but it's rumored that Ragnarok, or whatever it ends up being called, will have co-op. It's going to be a big game, an online game, and it'll be one of the best titles probably on next gen, the early days of next gen. This is a good one to tie to that launch. So Watch Dogs Legion next to Assassin's Creed, those games are going to be compared, and it's odd because like Watch Dogs is going to be the more stealthy one, and Assassin's Creed is going to be the more actiony one, which seems, I don't know. In my head, when you think of the origins of these franchises, that seems kind of crazy to me, since Assassin's Creed is about silently assassinating. Watch Dogs is more of the like tech and tools and blow things up. But it'll be interesting to see how they differentiate or distinguish themselves. Maybe Watch Dogs Legion is really focused on current gen, and Assassin's Creed is next gen. Maybe they're just very similar and a totally different skin, because Watch Dogs is, you know, current, future London, and Assassin's Creed is like way back Viking days. Then you've got one more game coming this year. So you've got Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and a mystery title. One more of those has to launch this fall. You know what it could be. it could be Splinter Cell. It could be Sam Fisher's glorious return to gaming. No, it's not. Jason Schreier was nice enough to tweet, anyone holding out hope for Splinter Cell is once again going to be disappointed, so we don't have to get our hopes up. We don't have to wait for E3. He just is telling us straight up, no Splinter Cell. When will that game come back? Well, I hope part of their creative restructuring is bringing some of these more creative franchises back, because Schreier says that the 5th game, the mystery game, is Far Cry. Come on. Come on. I know a lot of people love Far Cry. I know it's a brand that sells, but when you've got Prince of Persia that just doesn't appear, when you got Splinter Cell that just doesn't appear, new IP, I mean, I guess they're trying with Gods and Monsters. It feels like Breath of the Wild Ubisoft. But goodness gracious, are we really ready for another Far Cry? So look, I think Far Cry is the January, February, March title. They love to start the years off with Far Cry. We've seen nothing of Far Cry. It would be hard for Far Cry to hit this fall. So I think you either get Gods and Monsters or Rainbow Six Quarantine this fall alongside Watch Dogs and alongside Assassin's Creed. And my bet is that you're going to see Watch Dogs Legion, Assassin's Creed Ragnarok, and Rainbow Six Quarantine this fall, and then you will see Gods and Monsters and Far Cry wherever they go next winter. I think that makes the most sense. I think grouping Gods and Monsters with the other 2 open world games is risky. I was excited because it's supposed to be on Switch, and Ubisoft used to do great stuff on Switch, and they've kind of abandoned it. I'm still crossing my fingers that Roller Champions comes to Switch. That game is amazing. Of all these, that's the one I'm most excited for, which is Goofy. It is their like roller derby, run around multiplayer only game. It's so much fun. I loved it at E3 last year so much. I was so excited for it to come out. They had like a beta you could participate in, and then out of nowhere, it was just, hey, not coming. Delay City. And these delays are now major delays because, as I mentioned, you're getting like 7+ months for Watch Dogs. More for Gods and Monsters, because I don't think that releases this year anymore. And there's got to be some inner struggle at Ubisoft to make these games great. I think when you get that big, that large, that much going on, and you're so determined to make these online games as services, play it forever type games, you hit a wall. It's inevitable. It happens with every franchise that's ultra successful, whether you're Guitar Hero or Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, it happens. What's funny is that Assassin's Creed already went through this once, and then had a like refresh, but it's happening to their other franchises. And maybe Far Cry does do something drastically different, but I firmly believe that this wave of Ubisoft games, the 5 AAA titles they're talking about here, are going to be very much in the wheelhouse of Ubisoft the last 6-7 years. And then the next wave might be different. Hey, let's start fresh on next gen. I mean, after the launch, right? Build up the install base, move our creative team around, and then let's make a play for really exciting games that come out year 2 and year 3 of next gen. Push the technology, push the hardware, and push the creativity. It's a great time to try new things and try new ideas, and it seems like that's what Ubisoft is lining up here. So it looks like it's going to be Watch Dogs Legion in October, Assassin's Creed Ragnarok in November. I think Rainbow Six Quarantine is tied to one of those in either October or November. And then I think Gods and Monsters hits in February, and I think Far Cry hits in March. That is my prediction, and I think you've got all the puzzle pieces. So we can move a few of those around, but you know there's no way that AC is being saved for next year. You know there's no way that Far Cry is coming this year. So unless you just swap Gods and Monsters and Rainbow Six Quarantine, or maybe AC is the October game and Watch Dogs is the November game based on when the consoles launch, I don't know. But that is going to be what we've got. Are you excited about that? Are you hyped for that? Are you ready for another Far Cry? I thought Far Cry 5 was okay. I thought Far Cry New Dawn was... Did not like that at all. So, I mean, it's fun when they go to exotic locales. There's an opportunity to do cool things, but I think it's going to be very by the numbers. And that makes me a little sad. But we'll have to wait and see. There's hope. You know, and I'd love to get into Ragnarok, because I didn't get into Odyssey. I loved Origins. Odyssey to me was, well, if I'm brutally honest, I had a really bad glitch that I lost like 7 hours of the game, so that kind of hurt it for me. But I wasn't having the best of times. I didn't really like the direction they took, but I'm going to give it a second chance. I think it could look amazing and really implement some exciting ideas technology-wise for next gen. And then I'm pumped to see what Quarantine ends up being, Gods and Monsters ends up being. You know, if you want my take, I think Watch Dogs Legion is probably my least hyped of any of these, and that's sad because I love 2 so much, and I even liked 1 more than most. I thought 2 had some insane, awesome missions. I loved, like, the colors and the ideas behind that game, and it just feels like, I don't know, they made this decision to eschew a titular character and a linear storyline, and you can be everyone and do everything, and that's fun in concept. But but I think it hurts the bottom line of telling a compelling narrative and delivering a memorable single-player experience. But as we know, Ubisoft is much more about multiplayer, playing with your friends, everyone doing everything, all at once, all the time. And until that creative team really settles in and sets a new course for the next wave of games, that's what you're getting. So there you have it. That's Ubisoft. What do you guys think about their lineup? What game are you most excited for? And are you jonesing for this creative team to really dig their teeth in and try to chew some up and chew some stuff up and spit something new out? That's what I'm pumped for. I'm excited for that. Very curious to see what these launch lineups look like. If we're going to get big heavy hitters like Assassin's Creed, that'll go a long way to cementing next gen, giving it a really strong start. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown, the puzzle piece connecting, and hope you're ready for a lot of Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Far Cry, and the same old stuff for Ubisoft. Could be cool, could be great, could be amazing, could be the best in the franchise, or it could be a lot of mods, more of the same. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. That's the day. Drink so much chocolate. Be good to yourself and others out there. I love you a lot, and we'll see you all alive.